Hi there, I'm Joe Murley and I'm here to talk to you today about our upcoming workshop, the Lean Management System. If you're listening to this, it's quite probable that you're already involved in Lean in your organization and possibly you've done some Kaizens and created standard work and maybe work cells and whatever type of organization that you're in. Possibly even put in some visual management tools, or you might even have been involved in strategy deployment, or Hoshin Kanri as the Japanese might call it. What we're going to talk about in this course is how all the elements of the Lean Management System fit together into a system that supports a lean thinking culture in the organization, as opposed to individual tools that give you some performance improvement, in some cases pretty significant performance improvement, but then you find that they plateau and they're difficult to sustain. So if you're really looking to achieve that superior performance that successful lean organizations are known for, and maybe more importantly the continuous improvement aspects of that, you really need to understand how all the pieces fit together. So we're going to start by talking about lean strategy development and deployment. We're going to talk about standard work and what it means in your organization. And in standard work, we're going to cover a broad range of organizations, starting with office and services, going on to healthcare and industrial manufacturing type settings. Each of those has their own unique manifestation of what standard work means in that particular situation, but the principles are consistent. So we're going to learn the difference between the principles and the artifacts we might have seen in some prior examples. We'll talk about visual management, and it's possible you've already done some 5S or done some visual management, but here again we're going to talk about how to create a visual management system that breaks apart visual process adherence tools, visual process efficiency or visual process performance tools, and gives us an overview of how the entire value stream is performing as opposed to individual points in the value stream. And that's an important distinction when trying to create a visual management system as opposed to individual tools. We're going to talk about people development. How do we build the problem-solving identification, problem-solving muscle of the entire organization, from the frontline workers that produce the product or service that your customers buy, all the way up to the senior management and senior leadership ranks in the organization. Each of those strata in the organization have problem-solving responsibilities. They might be in different categories, but understanding how to solve problems at a very deep level so that they don't come back, and understanding how to lead an organization through that continual learning path on how to become better and better at problem resolution is key to the management system, probably one of the most fundamental things in fact. Then we're going to talk about the work of leadership, and these would be the nuts and bolts tools that leaders engage in a lean organization. Things such as the Gemba walk, reflection meetings, responding to and-on calls, strategy deployment reviews, the mentoring process. These are all tools that leaders go through on a repetitive cadence that enable the organization to see how they're doing relative to where they want to be and think about how to make the next improvements. We'll then go to talk about the follow-up and accountability process. And we have to keep in mind that in a lean leading organization, about 50% of our time is going to be spent in follow-up and making sure the accountability systems are alive and well so that we do what we say we're going to do as an organization. And then finally, we're going to culminate this with understanding what the lean leadership behaviors are in each of these venues. The way in which you carry on a conversation in a Gemba walk where you're faced with something that appears to be an abnormality is going to appear to be different than the way you'd carry on a conversation in a reflection meeting where there's some preparation in advance and you're in a team setting. Each of these venues has a behavior set. Again, the principles will remain constant in each of these venues, but each of them has a behavior set, and we need to understand what they are and how to use them to our advantage. We'll then talk a bit about how do you go about implementing this, so we won't be able to spend a lot of time at this in this two-day course, but we will talk about the major steps, and it'll at least give you a taste of what that's about. The learning process is going to be a combination of learn, see, do. We'll teach a principle, give you some background as to what it is, where it came from, why it came to be. We'll then possibly, not possibly, but definitely demonstrate it for you in a particular setting. We're going to create a false little factory, not just a factory but an entire business for us to work on throughout the entire 2 days. It's called Wishmaker International, and we're going to manage Wishmaker International using these tools. You'll then have a chance to role play how you would use these tools in your particular industry to help deepen the knowledge and the learning. It's going to be 2 days of a combination of lecture, practice, and open discussion, so we can lay out on the table what you're facing in your various experiences, and also talk about what next steps are going to be for you. So I think we're really going to enjoy this. Generally, I find that the conversations are very lively during these classes, and that people really take away some solid tools to use as managers and leaders in their organization, and some solid approaches and steps to implementing these tools as well. So I hope to see you there. Please join us. Take care.